Got a new recruit to discuss with you, Riley Davis. This time it is four-star power forward Charles Purr. And he's on my radar because of Jacob Polachek's article for KSR on Charles Purr that came out last night. It's a really great article. Shout out to friend of the program, Jacob Polachek. But apparently Kentucky is prioritizing Charles Purr, a 6'10", 190-pound forward from North Carolina. That's Riley Davis's music. And this has become a recent development. Apparently, they just watched him play in the EYBL session in Memphis in May, and now they've been in contact with Purr's guardian. For what it's worth, Charles Purr says this is his dream school. The exact quote here is, "I want to shape my game around Wenyen Gabriel. He's a South Sudan native, played for the Lakers. He went to Kentucky. I want to shape my story like his because he was going through the stakes I'm going through right now. He was from another country, but he went to college and made it to the NBA." I did as much research as I could on Charles Purr last night after reading these quotes. I can't find where he's actually from listed anywhere. So I don't know if he's from Sudan, the same way Wenyen Gabriel is, or what. He's currently playing in North Carolina, as I mentioned, but pretty cool to hear him just sort of explicitly state, like, hey, Wenyen Gabriel was an inspiration to me, and it would be really cool to follow in his footsteps at Kentucky. There are more quotes from Charles Purr that I want to discuss with you as well here because it sounds like, he grew up a Wenyen Gabriel fan. He was familiar with the John Calipari era Kentucky Wildcats, and obviously the Mark Pope era is different. Charles Purr has some thoughts on that, but for now, 24/7 lists him as a four-star power forward. I think he's rising through the ranks as people watch more and more of this kid. His current list of offers, by the way, not all that big. Tennessee was the biggest offer, but Cincinnati, Penn State, South Carolina, Mississippi State, some others in the mix. So I think Kentucky has a very good chance to close the deal here if that's what Mark Pope intends to do. Throw it to you. Give me some general thoughts on Mr. Charles Purr.
Yeah, for one, it seems like yesterday he got offered by Western Carolina. You got the tweet with him thanking you for the offer, but thanks for showing up, Catamounts. But I don't think this one's working out here. Actually, I know the head coach of Western from my almanac days. I might hit him up and ask him what he thinks about Mr. Purr that got the offer. But yeah, he's playing at Burlington Christian, which is only an hour away from me. There's some good basketball played in Burlington. Burlington Christian is not as notable as the Burlington School, which has produced a lot of like really high-end mid-major stars, and even guys like Jamari Thomas, who played at South Carolina this past year. It was at Norfolk before. Kulel Meding, another guy who had a great career at Norfolk State, played at the Burlington School. So it's a respected area of the state for basketball, and I think it's good for his development. From what I'm watching of him, you see the physical tools. I mean, he's 6'9", he's really lean, but he's got like the ball skills. He's got that bounce to where it's just shouldn't come as a shock that all of these power conference schools are taking note and thinking this guy might be their malleable clay that they can form into some sort of dynamic wing weapon. So yeah, I think the quotes it's actually pretty cool just to see someone, assuming he is from South Sudan, that like the story of Wenyen Gabriel, who we look at as like pretty nondescript college player, nondescript NBA player, but seeing the way that it's inspiring the next generation of basketball players is cool. And at this point, I mean, I've said it on different shorts we've done. Anytime we cover Kentucky, I just think Mark Pope is sort of on top of the sport right now in terms of getting to that tier where it feels like if he wants a player, he gets him, whether that's in the transfer portal, whether that's at the high school ranks. So it's tough to bet against him, especially when you get quotes like this. If he truly is someone, if Pope truly wants him, that he probably will get him.
This video is brought to you by NBA 2KLab.com. 2K Lab worked with us last summer as well. They're one of our favorite entities in all of sports gaming. We want to show you their college basketball stadium locator challenge game. And I'm going to share a screen right now as we do this. South Carolina, bang. Oh, okay, that's pretty good. Next, North Carolina. Why are we only getting the Carolinas?
Please
Bang.
lock in.
St. John's, that's New York.
New York.
Bang.
Where's New Jersey?
We're on fire. Colorado. I actually don't know what state Colorado
is. It's in Colorado. There's a state of Colorado.
Is that this one?
It's to the right of Phoenix.
Anyway, you get the picture. This game's really fun. They've got more games as well, like Guess the NBA Player, Mystery Fantasy Draft, and more. Stay tuned for all of the college football content and games that they'll be putting together to help you get the best experience out of college football 26. Back to the video. Yeah, I think this one's unique because a lot of recruits I think would say their dream school is Kentucky. It's Kentucky, right? BBN. They're as big of a program as there is in college basketball. But this one obviously has special circumstances when a kid gets an offer and he doesn't have Kansas, he doesn't have North Carolina, he doesn't have those other big competitors to Kentucky after him as far as I know yet. I think Houston's trying to get involved, but for now, right? Like Kentucky is sort of swooping in and they're the first to reach out and try and make this happen. And for that to happen while he's also sitting there like, yeah, my inspiration is a Kentucky role player. It almost feels too good to be true. I will say, like, I watched the tape, I see the intrigue. I don't see Kentucky level recruit right away. And now
Mhm.
maybe I'm looking at out of date film, but I see a lot of like off the dribble, tough shot making. You see some defensive potential, but he's not the biggest guy. Like I think he's listed at 6'10" now, but previously he was listed at 6'8". In these clips, he looks more 6'7" to me. He's definitely not the strongest or the heaviest, right? So he's got to put on some weight. I can totally see like a Mississippi State or a South Carolina or a Cincinnati going all in and prioritizing this. This isn't Kentucky's number one target, but if Kentucky is swooping in with an offer, it certainly seems like they would take him. Part of me wonders, like, did Mark Pope even discover this kid and know the Wenyon Gabriel track history? Because maybe that got the intrigue to make Mark Pope want to reach out. I'd love to know the background on that. Either way, it's worth a take, and I trust Mark Pope to developmentally get the most out of him. He can do a lot of different things on the floor, both offensively and defensively.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I see some of those same concerns, especially when you look at the size right now, and even some of the clips he's playing. I mentioned so I'm a little unclear of where he's playing. His Twitter bio says Burlington Christian Academy, but it looks like he's been playing with the Burlington school on the summer circuit. But even some of those names I mentioned, they're all mid-major guys. Where that's not to say he can't buck the trend. And of course, Jamari Thomas got up to the power conference ranks. It's a really good program in North Carolina, but it's not. It's a lot different than Montverde. It's a lot different than IMG. It's a lot different than La Lu or Wasatch or whichever one of those national prep schools you want to choose. So, look, I mean, we've seen Kentucky use their roster and maximize some spots in creative ways this year. You think about a player like Reese Potter, who was added late, who's the Lexington kid, who's a 7-1 shooter who they got from Miami of Ohio, and is like, hey, come be a bench big. Maybe you'll grow your game to where I think as we see after the House settlement, 15 scholarships, no more walk-ons. It opens you up to take some of these guys who might not be immediate contributors, but of course there's the risk of like, will we get Charles Pur at his best, or is he going to go transfer to somewhere where he can play before then? Like, would you rather him just pick a Cincinnati out of high school and then try to scoop him up in the portal if he turns into something, or if you have an open roster spot to play with? So I personally, college basketball is a year by year commitment these days, and when you have the scholarships open, to me, he feels like he's always going to be more of a flyer and an upside play than someone who you're going to depend on to contribute immediately. I kind of like the move of still making him a priority and trying to get the high school commitment, even with the transfer risk.
He's for sure a take, even just for the story of a kid that's rising this much and the background of it. Like, honestly, we know how good Mark Pope is with like PR. I feel like they would do a lot with that story, and it might
Yeah.
open up some avenues. So, I mean, this kid flatly says Wenyon Gabriel is the main reason I wanted to look at Kentucky. Like, that is such a unique situation.
Mhm.
I just can't even compare it to any other school. I mentioned quickly at the top that obviously he grew up a Wenyon Gabriel fan. He watched those teams. That was John Calipari's Kentucky. Mark Pope's Kentucky is very different. We know this. And he was asked about this. Charles gave an interesting quote on it. He said, quote, to be honest, Mark Pope's a great coach. Just look at all the players he's recruited and the run they made last year. You can actually tell how he coaches. I'm not going to say he's better than Coach Calipari, but it's different. He has a different style of play. He's a great coach. Do you read anything into that quote, good or bad, on the state of, grew up a Cal era Kentucky fan, and now he's talking about it's very different with Mark Pope.
Yeah, not really. I think it's a little bit of just interview speak in terms of just say some compliments. Don't dissect the words too much, and with the whole differences or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's also just a reality. He's
Yeah,
very
true.
different than John Calipari. That's not saying good or bad, but still a lot of Mark Pope praise here. Just interesting timing of that one for me. So, all right, we'll see. We'll keep following Charles Purr, but if Kentucky really is the dream school, I wouldn't be surprised if Kentucky found a way to close the deal on this sooner rather than later.